welcome everybody. And I appreciate you all taking time out on a Monday afternoon. So, why are we specifically discussing Java? Why not something else? We could have taken some other programming language. We could have, in fact, just spoken very generically about a couple of software engineering related matters. So, why Java? So, I'll very briefly touch upon that aspect as well. People, Java has been around since 1995 when Sun Microsystems launched it, right? And there are many different versions, flavors of Java and related inherited languages available out there today. However, Java still sits at the core of a lot of what we learned through our engineering days and even later. But today, not just about the specific stack, I would like to also throw some light on what Java stands about or stands for, right? So I am assuming we have people from speaking different languages, different vernaculars here as part of this forum. See, the language specifically provides syntax, right? The logic behind what Raghavendra was trying to ask me in both the languages is still how are you, right? He was trying to understand my well-being or how my day is going, or so understand the logic behind what he's trying to ask. And that's what I'll also try to establish today, that it's not just Java or one language that makes you a good or a great software engineer. It's also about understanding the logic. The language actually helps you translate your logic into something that the machine understands. Okay. However, still an important piece is, what do you want the language to do? And that's where one of the fundamental aspects of what some of you would have already studied as part of your engineering or some of the courses that you have attended. Otherwise, this is one of the fundamental aspects that we cover when we handhold you in the journey through the full stack development. Right? Because at the end of it, you should be able to think, not just translate something that has been given to you in a particular language. And with that, I'll kick off today's session, and feel free to ask me questions. I'll probably have one or two more activities or exercise through the session, and we'll touch upon a couple of these aspects. So again, welcome everyone to the bootcamp. See, Java essentially is a general purpose language which is used in a variety of applications. And we'll talk about some of those applications, but specifically today, as we understand the world about web development, mobile development, enterprise applications. So enterprise applications sit at the core of most of the activities or the product developments that an organization has to the consumer. Just imagine that, let's say there is a product that EduBridge has, which you use to enroll. There is a lot of activity that happens behind the scenes as well. And that's what I mean by enterprise applications. Now, when we talk about full stack development, we are talking about both front end as well as back end. Back end is not just about creating a layer which sits as an orchestration for the front end to work on, but the back end essentially, what when I say back end, I'm also trying to say the database. So the front end, back end, as well as database. Okay, so the front end is what the users react with, and back end is more for the processing. So people who aspire to get into a full stack development career, or even architect for that matter, they should have understanding of both sides of web development technologies, specifically Java. Now, again, before getting into the roadmap to become a Java full stack developer, let me just pick up one very key point, that Java is one of the oriented programming languages. Right? So you would have heard about OOPS. So Java is one of those languages where you define objects. Object is something, so on one side, let's say there is a workflow. Basis the workflow, you define a write code basis which the engine keeps running. However, when you look or translate that into an object-oriented environment, you define objects. So just to give you an example, let's say you are driving a car. Okay, in a non-objective or in a linear programming, you generally talk about, okay, fine, let's put 800 cc engine which comes from Fiat, let's put this driving seat which comes from so and so. However, when you talk about an object, you objectify things which then further store the values of the parameters. Just to give you an example, in so how many of you have studied C++ in past? Can somebody just by show of hands or by saying yes to me, can somebody say some that you have studied C++ in past? So you would have seen the difference between C and C++. When in C you write code in a certain way, but in C++ it's not just the syntax. You actually define the code in a different way altogether. When you define objects and classes, you remember you would have studied a bit about the classes. So wherein you define, okay, what is my object, your object, or what is my class altogether. So let's say a class is something where I talk about car. Within a car there are different objects where I talk about, I need these many, the one object is seats, the other is engine, the other could be, let's say, wipers. And then within wipers I put different values. So it could be two wipers, four seats, five seats, and in engine 800 cc capacity. So my structure is defined in a very different way in an object oriented environment. And Java actually inherits a lot of those object oriented features from that environment. And that is what I meant, that when you are with us, we handhold you to understand the logic in a certain way, that moving from one language to another doesn't become very difficult because your fundamentals are strong. And like one of our friends, Raghavendra, he spoke about, he said something in Telugu. Now he understood what he actually wanted to say. Tomorrow, if he wants to understand another language, he doesn't want to start from scratch. There is a reference point that he already has. And that reference point becomes very important for somebody to scale the learning in the software engineering environment. And Java becomes a perfect platform for that. And that's why in today's session, I'm talking more about Java, not so much about the other languages. So you learn the basics of the programming, you master the front end, you also master the back end and understand the database. So as I said, that database is something which a lot of people generally cover as part of backend. And some of the cases, there are specific hirings to do with, okay, I need a database architect, or I need somebody who can be a data engineer. And with Java full stack, you actually get to cover all these three channels. Okay, so specifically in terms of database, there is a non-relational as well as relational database. So typically, in today's language, we generally say NoSQL and SQL, but essentially what that means is relational and non-relational. So relational is where you are able to define the schema in a very specific manner, that these are my table heads and these are the values within those tables. In case of no SQL, so just to give you an example, let's say you are on social media. So a lot of discussions that you have on social media, they are not necessarily structured, right? These sometimes we need to use the sentiment analysis, the semantics analysis to do that, and that sometimes becomes difficult to do in a structured database environment, and that's why the evolution of unstructured data as well as no SQL or non-relational database has also evolved over a period of time. You learn about the APIs. So APIs essentially, so just imagine there are two systems. So in today's environment, a lot of development is done on the basis of microservices, not so much on the basis of monolithic. So what is monolith? Monolith is where, as I said, you have a defined workflow. You develop everything in one go. On the other hand, there is a microservices environment. So just to give you an example, let's say you go to make my trip. On make my trip, you want to query what are the flights available on a certain day. That is one service. On the other side, when you select the flight, then you get into the seat selection. That is another service. Then when you, let's say, get to the payment, then that payment gateway altogether is a different service. So not as part of all the workflows, you are actually invoking or calling everything. If you want to just go and query the results of the flights, you do that, come out. If your payment has failed for some reason, or let's say that organization's payment gateway is undergoing uh, maintenance activity that particular minute, that doesn't mean your querying the tickets availability also gets impacted. And that's why in microservices, you'll see there are different services. One service talks to another. For that service to talk to, or two systems to talk to each other, there is a contract. And that's where the different kind of languages or different kind of ecosystems in two different places need to give them, provide a handshake. This is what I need from you, from this system, and this is what I will give to you. So as a system, this is what I will give to this system. And that contract is translated as part of the application programming interface. Okay, so you also familiarize yourself in a more professional environment wherein you use Git or some other code repository for you to be able to continuously integrate your code with the rest of your colleagues. And then, as I said, you gain knowledge of deployment and DevOps. So some of the pieces which further take you to more of on the architect side. So see, you may not necessarily be doing testing always, but in some cases, let's say you are not doing, but somebody else is doing. There is a handshake involved there also. If you are yourself doing testing, then also you, with understanding of Java, you have a better relatability in terms of what you are getting, and whether you are doing only the workflow testing or also API testing. Right? So you understand the continuous integration and continuous deployment. So this becomes part of those Git repositories, as well as how do you make your code live from development to staging to production. So, and you stay updated with the latest technologies and trends. So we continuously keep on partnering with some of the industry established players, very recent one being IBM. So we continuously keep on bringing the flavors of what is trending and getting that added as part of the curriculum as well. So the industry scope for Java is actually not limited to just one particular industry or business. It is for startups, for large enterprises, in different kind of environments. When I say different kind of environments, whether it is something to do with banking or it is something to do with your e-commerce, and not just about Java, but also related languages. So let's say JavaScript. So a couple of things like mean and mern sit on top of JavaScript, and they become your fundamental I mean basis your fundamentals achieved or learned through Java. You eventually navigate your career to some of those elements as well. So some of the best practices: using a framework, version control, writing unit tests, uh, testing regularly, because you see, actually developing the system for the first time is easy. So you create something from scratch, deploy it. Nobody has any idea about something breaking. But once your system is live, you keep making changes to that. With one change, something else could have broken. And that's why a need for you to be on top of the regression. Uh, it's a good practice to keep on testing. So unit test is what the software engineer conducts. The regression test, some of the other tests, they are done by the QA team. So, and eventually deploy your code to the staging environment from where the QA is generally taken. So a couple of opportunities in Java. So Java developer, software engineer, full stack developer, web developer, backend developer, front end developer, and as I had also said, it could be a database or a data engineer as well. Today, as part of, uh, I mean, one of the reference points that we have taken is the statistic available on Ambition Box, that an average annual salary of a Java full stack developer in the initial years is around 4.6 lakhs, which ranges typically between 2 lakhs and 13.5 lakhs. And then as you grow, then as you further develop your skill, not only theoretical but also practical, you are able to take decisions. And this actually stems a lot uh, on what I had said initially, that it's not just about understanding Java as one programming language, but also the logics that you understand with it, which further boost your capability to pick up more and more languages as you get deeper into your job, is where you define or and even cross this benchmark of 13.5 and get into higher salary ranges. For example, in US, the average salary is around $100,000 per year, which typically means around 80 to 85 lakh rupees per year. This particular area is expected to reach around $26.2 billion in another 4 years with a growth of around 8%. But I would actually like to challenge this. It's not just 8% because, as I said, there are many things related to Java. So if you include those things here, the number will be upward of double digit. The career availability actually today is a factor of different industries, different kind of roles required, different stages of the organizations, and with more and more projects coming in, the requirement for engineers to be able to, let's say, whether they are working as data scientists or software engineers or even architects, as I had said, once you gradually get to that particular point, is increasing immensely. And the popularity of Java in the last, so 95, 5 plus 23, 28 years. It's been 28 years since Java has been in the market. And even Android actually has a lot of development done on top of Java. So the demand or the requirement for people who understand this escape is just increasing. So sometimes you would have seen job opportunities which actually talk about some other language, but that is the need of that particular day. In most of the cases, if you are a strong Java person, and even if you do not have to, like in my team, I lot of times hire people who understand these fundamentals, even if not exactly that particular language, because then I can train them on that particular language. So don't confine yourself only to the job opportunities which have specifically Java written. Because if you will read through the verbatim of most of the job descriptions, you will see somewhere that some shape and form of Java would have been mentioned. So a couple of things that you do on the job with Java at your back. So developing and maintaining Java-based applications, designing and architecting web applications, working with other developers to build and deploy applications, troubleshooting and debugging applications, analyzing and optimizing code, working with clients to understand their needs and requirements. So once you start, and so the best way to grow fast and grow big is to also visualize what you are thinking in terms of coding. Not just about code, but visualize how one particular data will flow from one point to another. And how will I particularly develop that stack for the client's objective to be met? Once you are able to visualize that and think and also translate it, there is a good chance that it's not just a requirement coming to you. And specifically in startups, you will be sitting with the client to understand the requirement and then developing the framework. Some of the tools that you learn along with Java, and it's not just a standalone Java full stack development. It's IntelliJ IDEA, Eclipse, Spring Boot, React, Node.js. So as I said, JavaScript is something on top of which a lot of other languages are now made. Whether it's MERN, which is Mongo, Express, React, and Node, or Mean, which is again MERN, Express, Angular, and Node. I'll give you a glimpse into, let's say, some of the offerings that we have for you. So I gave you an example about recent partnership with IBM. So we also offer an advanced certification program in Java full stack development in collaboration with IBM. So now you're getting the best of two worlds. So our trainers who have been doing this for 13 plus years, and then also some of the pieces of curriculum and evolving channels coming in conjunction with IBM. There are series of discounts that we keep providing from time to time, and the upcoming batch, we have admissions closing on 12th October. Just to give you a flavor of what all will you be covering, we have 550 hours, a lot of which comes with a master trainer like me. Be most So you don't have to get confined to visit something. You can or visit some place. You This is the entire course is location agnostic, 100% online. You get a proficiency in front end, intermediate, back end development, as well as you also work on some of the industry projects, especially with Capstone, wherein you get to further cement your learnings. We also provide channels for you to ask and clarify your doubts with the trainers. And also, you create a cohort with the rest of the community who is learning with you. I'll invite, so without further ado, I'll very briefly like to invite Sirisha, who is one of our recent alumni and has been placed with Accenture after studying with us. She would like to share some of her experiences, and it will be great if you hear directly from her. So,
Yeah,
Yasmin and Sirisha, over to you, please.
thank you, sir. So, this session will be continued after the Sirisha session. It's 10 minutes of conversation with Sirisha. She is a successful learner who is placed at Accenture. So, I request our learners, if you have any doubts from Sirisha regarding the placements, like how she had cracked Accenture, any questions you had, you can ask directly to her. I have also few questions framed in case I don't get any from you. I'll just just ask Shirisha. Shirisha, if you could like to share how was your journey before joining the Edu Bridge and how it starts with Edu Bridge, and yeah, you can elaborate with that and we'll have other questions.
I really want to ask you sorry, I didn't listen the question what you actually said.
Share your story of how your journey with Edu Bridge started.
My EduBridge journey started with before after graduating. I didn't find any companies it's very difficult to get job after graduation. If at all you didn't get selected in your in campus, it's tough for you. So later, one of my like friend, uh, I would like to mention his name, like Binda. He referenced me this specific about course about EduBridge, like they are providing Java and all full stack. So get registered with it, and soon they will these are the companies it is tied up, and you will be training on this, you will be trained on this, all of that. Then later I joined EduBridge through one of my friends' reference. After joining here, for sure you will have ups and downs. It's not like you will just join and here you will just crack everything. Everything is good. No, everything like trainers will be there for you. And for me, it is like firstly I joined with zero, not zero, just Java. I know just Java has. Oh, okay, Java is a language. But after joining EduBridge, I can tell you, like, I literally started coding at least like with nothing to something. That's the journey I would say for EduBridge. Like it has given me that journey to me, like from EduBridge.
That's great. So, any training highlights you would wish to share with our learners who have joined today? Like, what were the topics, subtopics were covered? How was the training?
You will have your mock interviews. You will have your like small kids. We used to have pionics, everything, all of that. Even they will teach you all of this, how to communicate in the interviews. Also, you will be assigning with projects, mini projects. Also, before this, they will tell you to code like in a live sessions also, like they will teach you and then after they'll give you few questions to solve them, and you have to definitely try them, and that is how you learn things, right? It's not directly you will learn things. Yeah, he teach you. Just if trainers are giving you some practice sessions, please make sure you try them. It's not like they are giving us and we are just asking some other and getting the no. Just try first. If at all you will not get anything, make sure you ask them. And also you will have a lot of exams here. Like you will have exams like about multiple choices. Even those are very helpful for you to crack the exams. Like for at least for the interviews, aptitude round, it will help you definitely. And who are here thinking like scared or having fear of speaking in front of everybody, guys, literally trust me. I was the one who used to be scared a lot to speak in front of everybody. Now I'm talking in front of you guys. That's the thing I got from this platform specific. It started from here.
That's great. Can you tell us how was the interview with Accenture? What was the process? What were the questions asked to you? If you would like to share your experience with our learners who wish to join like companies like Accenture.
We all know Accenture is the biggest company like in the world, like fourth largest company, IT company. Like before, I do had a dream like I had to join in a good company like Infosys, Accenture, or Capgemini. Obviously, EduBridge is tied up with the Capgemini only. I started like I joined EduBridge thinking like I'll get into the big companies like Capgemini. But for my bad luck, I could not crack Capgemini. It's because of my I could not do it better in my coding part. But yeah, it was my beginning side. And then later, with Accenture, firstly, we will have common rounds like aptitude coding. Once you will crack the aptitude, you will immediately after 5 minutes, you will be having your coding round. And in the coding, that is where it helped me, EduBridge. Like I have learned something here, and I could apply that, implement that in my coding round. Then later, I had communication round. Communication is round is like few used to say it is an elimination round. Now I really don't have so much of idea about that. But yeah, once you're good in communication, yeah, definitely you will crack that also. Then later I had my interview and technical, like HR and technical round was at the same time. So what they have asked me was about my project, especially like what was my tools I have like used for my project. Like Java was my course, right? And that I had my STS, like we have Spring Boot there where I have worked on. So with that, I could explain them. Even also, they will ask you how confident you are while talking to them. They'll make sure how you are speaking to them. It's not like uh, it's okay. Some people will be stammering sometimes. Even we also do it. It's okay. But yeah, they'll see you how confidently you are speaking with them. And also they asked me quite like related to Java. Obviously, we all know if what हमने कौन सा लिया है, they will be asking you the same questions regarding that. So I could answer few of them, not like 10 of the 10. Yeah, but good to that, near to that. We have to explain how did we do the project in our engineering time also. It's not like whatever you did in your course. It's not only that. You have you have to explain what did you do in your engineering time also. Like what were the projects and what did you do and what was your like contribution to the project, especially that was the thing they asked me.
And now, can you share us like what you do now as an like your designation also with the Accenture, and what is the to-do list you have in Accenture now?
I'm really shocked. I'm a software developer now. Before this, I used to just think, let kaun sa bhi chalega. I have to join in some branch, some domain. It's okay for me. It's a call center, whatever it is. I have to join somewhere. It's like do or die for me. But I had in my dream like I had a dream thing like I have to be a software developer. Yeah, for everyone we have that wish. If at all you are reading Java part languages, you are into IT. If you want to know, you want to be a like thing, software developer. It sounds good, right? To listen also, like you want to be a software developer, a hacker or something like that. Yeah, for me also I had that, and finally that got succeeded. Like from EduBridge, I'm now a software developer.
So like I was just the second part was like what you do as a software developer at Accenture, like the basic. I know you can't share what as a software developer in Accenture they expect you to do.
Or they want you to know SQL. They want you to know. like it totally depends on your skills. Like after once you get into the companies, they will have their own skills. Like it's not like now you got the Java, you have learned the Java. This is the step to get into the companies. It's not like you have to be like don't be so this कि तुम्हें जो पढ़े हो वही मिलेगा. It's not like that. You have to get into the company with this some, at least you need a platform, right? You have to learn something to get into company. So there they are expecting me to code. We have to write a small test cases, unit test cases, all of that. We need to that is what developer does. So there obviously learning thing is a plus for you because it's like doing job plus learning. In IT, you will never have a rest. Like it's not a pause or it's a resume type. You have to be learning. You have to be good in learning. It will not end now in IT. I can just tell you this.
Is it like very hectic?
Yeah, quite hectic only for me, yes, because I'm a Java background girl, but there certainly for me I have to learn Python. But okay, even Java have helped me because Java and Python somewhere have the same, what do you say, definitions, but not syntax. I can say Python has good syntax, like easy or whatever. It depends on all of us, like all of that POVs. But yeah, like they will make you to also they'll also teach you quite things like how all of that. My work is to write test cases and all of that. So yeah.
And I hope this hectic thing is okay. We should get that, habit. So that's good. Any questions from learner for Shirisha? Like who I can see many people joined us. So do you have some questions? You can unmute yourself. You can ask. You can use the chat box.
It is the training is only for the if there is someone who just passed out in 2018 or from then, right? So generally the companies will take only the people with 2000 like the recent passed out, right? So if it is like the passed out is they have some career gap, right? So what is that? Is there any how the placements gets to that people even?
Tough question because even I was also like you, like who had a gap in between. Definitely it's a bad mark for you, like a bad remark, a small remark for you. Like you can make sure you can tell them like you were into this course and you also have tried to like companies and you have started taking their feedbacks and started preparing on them or something like that, and tell them you were going through this specific what do you say, course part, learning part, all of that. I can only tell you that thing because even I said the same thing.
So, from what I understand, I think she has been given more of a platform to build her application architecture and development journey by getting familiarized with the current code base, the current ecosystem, basis which uh, she might have been playing some bits of the role which technically could fall under the purview of a software analyst, but it's more than that because software analyst typically is mostly functional in nature. What she's doing is a mix of techno-functional, and because of which that particular understanding that she will gain in the coming months solidifies her understanding of uh, the implementation aspect as well. And in a lot of career paths, that is how the role eventually evolves. I also saw somebody asking about the AI tools. So, see, not all the courses have deep aspect of the AI. However, most of the courses will have aspects which will be used to cover the machine learning. On top of which, if you are able to develop the predictive modeling, then you can take it to AI. However, in terms of our data analytics course gives you an option to cover the deep learning with TensorFlow, and there are a couple of other areas also in terms of the entire data modeling that you learn there, so which typically becomes a specific part of the curriculum of your AI within the course itself. Somebody also asked about when you will place. I think Rupali, if she's still here, Rupali asked about when you will place after completing the course. So I'll touch up very briefly. I'll touch upon that aspect also when I continue with my presentation.
Sir, there's one more: how to study placement or interview. Like she might be asking about the
Where is that
Pratisha.
question? Sorry, what is the question?
How to study about placement or interview? Like it may be around how to prepare for an interview.
Okay, so I will touch upon things related to placement also. See, at
Yeah.
EduBridge, we are not just a training organization. We are a career building organization. And there was a question regarding 2018 pass out, and in 2023 there is a 5 years gap. So we provide different kind of you can say learning avenues which we call passports. So which some of which are very specifically designed for people who have finished their graduation in the last 2 3 years. But then there is this skills passport which is designed for everybody, right? So the content and the curriculum you cover is to a large extent same. And then regarding the hand holding required for somebody to crack the interviews, that as I said, you will be part of a community which will be a mix of people with last 2 3 years pass out, somebody who passed out alongside you, etc. And within these passports, we provide avenues wherein you interact not just with the trainers. So first of all, a very important piece that Sirisha covered was about, let's say, communication, the aptitude. So our content is designed in such a way that you get expertise in the domain. Let's say Java full stack is what you enroll into. So Java becomes your domain. Plus there are add-ons which include aptitude, communication, which gradually in fact make you or prepare you for your entrance tests. The tests that we conduct throughout the training, they are, I mean, they are conducted by the same organizations who are likely to conduct your tests when you appear for, let's say, an Accenture or a Capgemini, right? So they are well curated. They are created on from the experience of the questions that are asked of the learners at the recruiter side, and that gradually anyway prepares you very well for your interviews, your tests, your placements. Plus we have handholding sessions from the council. Let me in fact share my screen and talk about a bit of those. So as part of your relationship with EduBridge, so this is your initial discovery phase when you get exposed to the different kind of courses through our website. You you visit, you sign up. Then we assign a career coach who discusses with you regarding what your experience has been, what kind of module fits better into your scheme of things. And then once you register with us, that's where we activate on one side the logistics, which includes channelizing your EMIs, your loan, and we provide free, no interest EMIs. On the other side, our VCare team on starts onboarding you in terms of batch allocation and the modus operandi of your entire learning, which includes, as I said, not just the trainers, but also there will be managers allocated to you who will be working alongside you to on besides domain on the communication and aptitude piece. And there will be as you can see here, the placement manager, the DPM, depending on the passport that you select. So dedicated placement manager and the quality assessors who are in touch with you at certain stages. And those stages are very clearly defined. People will reach out to you and they will help you with understanding, okay, where do you stand today in terms of how are you interacting? What are the feedbacks? Then you will have your counseling sessions with the experts who will further train you to get to that particular point which wherein you crack the interviews. Then the tests, as I said, the MLAT, XLAT, these are well positioned as part of your journey so that you learn, you apply, you learn, you apply, you test yourself, you get into the projects, and then you test yourself again, right? So you see continuous intervention coming from different kind of people. So it's not just a trainer like me. There will be multiple people, as you see, the domain trainer, industry expert, quality assessor, the placement manager, etc., etc. So there will be many people who will be part of this particular journey, including when if you are selecting the course in collaboration with IBM, then they will be trainers from IBM side as well. So I'm not getting into the specific each and every line item of the stage. There will be people you can reach out. I mean, you can share your interest. Somebody will contact you to help you understand this entire journey. But as you see, these stages are very clearly defined. At what stage you are interacting with him, and the day you start your training, it's not like you have to wait all the way till the end of the training for these placement related interventions or preparations to start. They start in parallel. So somebody also asked, when do we get placed? So upon completion or of 50 to 70% of your training, you get exposed to application. So actually you start seeing the tests very early. When I say tests, the job applications through us. But at the same time, you also start applying after 50 to 70% of your training completion, because we want you to be able to put the best foot forward when you reach the interview stage. And by that time, if you have studied 50 to 70%, you are able to now start talking, as Sirisha was also saying, things that you have learned with us. A brief matter of people who we have impacted or who have been associated with us so far, more than 1 lakh. In fact, this number has increased quite a bit. uh, we have 300 plus hiring partners on an average, and this is what you can see on the website also. We have 50 plus percent have average hike vis-a-vis what they were doing before EduBridge and post EduBridge. We have a very strong alumni network. People also get associated with us in terms of there is something called ELC, so Elite Learners Club, wherein you have basis your association with us, basis your referrals, basis your activities, you also keep moving from silver to gold to platinum, diamond, etc. And then you have further benefits available to you, including some of the features which give you interaction with industry experts, etc. As you go along. So, and that kind of that's what I meant when I said there is a strong alumni cohort that you start becoming part of. And this journey, as Sirisha was also saying, in IT you don't stop learning, right? And she actually touched upon a couple of pieces that I was saying, that Java becomes your fundamental layer, and that is one of the reasons why today's session is on Java. Your opportunities once you get into the company may be something else or may evolve, but with this groundwork, with this understanding of logics, with this understanding of frameworks, that is where you are prepared to now learn anything else. So with that, I will conclude my session for today. There are a few pieces which I had parked if somebody is interested in the technical details of some of the tools and frameworks. But I think you will be in safe hands when you discuss with the career coaches as well as your trainers. So
Okay.
thank you so much for that. It was lovely having interacted with you. I'm here for some time if somebody has any questions.
Yeah, I can see one question. Uh, Hello, Akshat. Are you going to coach people in Java? Hitesh. Nice
Okay.
question.
Okay, Hitesh. So, see, it also depends on what batch you are enrolling in, right? So, I am here time to time interacting with the students in terms of, so like today. And that's why we say that we are getting into, this is kind of a boot camp, masterclass, where what do you pick up most from the particular subject is where I come into the picture. And then gradually there are people who will come into the journey who will take you through that particular I mean entire navigation. And actually it is one of the questions that you had also asked about the gap. So one of the lead engineers in my team actually started his career not as a software engineer. So for the first 4 5 years of his career, he was working in the print, and then he gradually migrated and switched the career, and now he's one of the senior most developers in the team. So those things do happen. I mean, I do have interventions. I visit batches once in a while to also see that everything is going all right as per what we had kind of established. And that's where there is a well regulated and monitored mechanism wherein your hand holding happens to be completely taken care of.
There's one
Right.
more question. Hello, sir. Right now,
So see, uh, PK, right? So PK, see, there are two aspects of the coding. The first that I started with was logic, right? What do you want the code to do for you? That particular aspect, the AI tools today, they are still not as mature for them to understand what do they need from the code. Today, in fact, there are architectures or platforms available which you call no code architectures. However, in fact, for things to come together, see, creating a linear flow versus creating something which is an integration of systems. These are decisions. Well, these things require decisions. For decisions, so there will be requirement of people who can think more holistically and not just about a transaction. So some of the transactional requirements, some of the prototypes, a lot of people have started using no code architectures. That doesn't mean that has taken away from the demand of software engineers. Understand it this way. Today, let's say the demand is this much. With AI or the no code architecture coming in, the software engineering demand doesn't reduce this much. The supply side, the demand side total is increasing this much. Because let's say somebody sitting in a home coming up with an idea, but before that person enrolls or empanels a lot of software engineers, which today they are not doing at all. They can probably try to use some of the no code architecture to see whether their prototype is getting accepted in the market or not, to test with the family, friends. So in that case, the original scope and the demand still are here, in fact increasing. But now some of the people who were not venturing into this space, now they have also started venturing in. Because of this, that particular area helps them with the quick prototyping. So in the near future, the demand for the software engineers is not going out because of the AI coming in. Instead, for that AI to be developed, the demand for software engineers is increasing.